Hi class, Emily here. I miss y'all. I'm at San Antonio currently at a math conference. Can't wait to see y'all's presentations and the slideshows. But I wanted to check in and kind of touch base with my experience with 21st century classroom and how it plays out in my classroom. So I wanted to say I have iPads. I use them daily. The kids are on technology to really learn the math. But more importantly, I wanted to focus on the skills and the life skills that are required of 21st century classrooms and how that plays out for me. Referring to our friends Erickson and Lanning, on page 27, they list the 8 mathematical practices that Common Core is stating in order for kids to be mathematically proficient, they should be able to do these things. It's not standards, it's just talking about being a mathematician. So as you read through these things, you really hear 21st century themes and skills play out. For instance, it's asking kids to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. So tackle those real world problems, even when they're hard, to really critically think about what's happening and how we can solve them. It's asking kids to reason abstractly and quantitatively. Number 3 asks kids to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. So this collaboration piece, being able to justify your answer and really argue in useful ways with your peers about why you're right and why this math makes sense. Use appropriate tools strategically. So in math classroom, that could be a ruler, that could be a protractor, it could be an iPad with a graphing calculator. So teaching kids not to use the most technology savvy tool, but to use appropriate tools to best help them understand the math. So my point in all this is to say that I think the future of our education, or the current state of our education, is asking kids to use these 21st century skills. We can't get away from it. The very standards that we're required to teach are asking kids to critically think, to think about the world and solve problems with their peers around them, to collaborate, to really hands-on engage in the math. So I think that math teachers can no longer lecture for 45 minutes and then ask kids to do the odd problems in the back of the book. I think that these Common Core standards are asking teachers to be a facilitator of inquiry, that kids can really learn how to solve problems for the PARCC assessment that they have to take at the end of the year, but also just for life. We're asking kids to be thinkers for the future, the ever-changing future that's happening. So this is how I see Common Core, how I see 21st century skills play out in my classroom, in a math classroom, and how it's really changing, education's changing, how we're asking kids to think and reason so that we can keep up with the changing world around us.